So it turns out Dreamcast guy has made another video, but instead of making an absolutely L take, we're gonna show you a great example of why you should do your research and not make a video as soon as some information comes out, as it makes you look like a complete idiot. Because instead of just taking this rumor at face value and it more than likely being fake, he decided to go around and parade it like it was going to be the be-all end-all of what Microsoft was going to do with Steam. Because apparently they're gonna buy Steam for $16 billion, even though they bought Activision Blizzard for $70 billion, which wouldn't make any sense because if they were going to buy Valve in its entirety, I would expect somewhere from $70 to $150 billion just from the player base alone, let alone their storefront. You know, the biggest PC storefront. It just doesn't make any sense. But regardless, Dreamcast guy had to go parade this as not a rumor and possibly confirmed. Mainly you can look at his title as the example. See, he did not mention the word rumor once, but then again, he's only doing it for views, so I don't blame him. You gotta get that bag somehow. But anyway, let's go take a look at his video and see what let's see what he has to say about it.
Microsoft wants to buy Steam and roll it into Xbox to make the brand of Xbox gaming even more massive.
I'm just gonna say this on behalf of all PC players. I've only been on the platform for about 2 years now, and I can say this with an absolute certain. I would not want any of these big companies to own Valve in its entirety. And then again, they're only a privately traded company, so I don't think they can even buy stock in it, or privately trade stock, but then again, they're not employees. Because it would be an absolute net negative if they were to own them. Just imagine all the terrible practices, all the things that they would change to make Steam as a platform terrible. I might as well call this out as well, but have you noticed how Dreamcast guy looked kind of upset at the knowledge of this information that Microsoft may buy Valve, which I don't think will ever be possible? Just look how depressed he looked at the beginning of this video. But if Sony was the one buying them, I'm sure he would have a big smile on his face.
And basically, this leak, this rumor, already has the entire internet completely freaking out, because it does feel like if this happens, if Microsoft just completely absorbs Steam, I think gaming is going to go down a dark path.
Apparently in the past they tried to buy Valve in its entirety, which I don't think ever went through because they only offered like, what was it, $10 to $8 billion for all of Valve, which honestly that's insane. I would probably go even higher than that, like 10 times higher. There ain't no way I'm selling to Microsoft for that much. That's chump change. But if the internet genuinely believed that this was real, I'm kind of disappointed in you guys. You've had so many years of just constant training to see this garbage takes and fake rumors, and you failed us. You let us down by believing it was real.
I think the industry as we know it may actually fall apart. But let's discuss. Hi, I hope you're having a great day. If you could, give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already.
You heard the man. Like and subscribe so I can reach 2,000 subs and start streaming. You know what needs to be done.
Now, the origin of this is a very peculiar spot. So this gentleman named Dwar is a dude who looks into different financial stuff and video game law stuff, and he just put this randomly on Twitter 3 hours ago where he said, essentially, Microsoft is ready to offer $16 billion for Valve. This will not be stock, it will be all cash. Now, pretty much immediately, and we're going to go through a bunch of it, people are saying that this is the worst thing ever. I mean,
wow. Some random rumor that has no proof, no weight behind it, just some random guy saying, it happened to me in a dream, it must be real, because Microsoft did it in the past with Nintendo and Valve. It must be real. Like, I want you to think about this. They spent $70 billion on Activision Blizzard King for all of them, but only $16 billion for the majority of the PC player base. That doesn't seem right. It just seems like a load of bullshit. It just cannot be. There's no way that Microsoft would spend so little and expect to get something out of this. It seems like it was just set up to fail.
Some Xbox fanboys are going to go, okay, explain why this is bad. Well, of course, I have to point out the fact that Microsoft does have a personally awful habit of purchasing companies, mismanaging, and then closing them down. So, yeah, I'm not immediately happy about the idea of this. Now, some people are immediately pushing back and saying, okay, this probably isn't true. It's completely made up. The figure doesn't make any sense. We're going to break down the leak and its logic, but just
That tweet right there perfectly described the entire rumor in a nutshell. It's probably fake, just like most other rumors on the internet. Some random guy with a verified account that put a little money into it and said, you know what? It's about time we do a little bit of trolling and see how far we can get. You know, have you never done that before? Everyone's done that a little before. You gotta spread a bit of misinformation for shits and giggles, you know what I mean? But was it really worth it making a whole video about this? It's literally just one big nothing burger. It's probably not gonna happen.
on the surface level, it is at least partially tangentially true that Microsoft, there were all these leaked documents last year that Microsoft themselves accidentally posted during the Activision Blizzard Microsoft hearings that were happening with the American government. They accidentally leaked a bunch of their own stuff, their own plans, their own emails, and one of them was the fact that Phil Spencer said that he was going to attempt to buy Nintendo, but obviously Nintendo laughed him out of the room. But the other one is that they wanted to buy Valve. Now, at the time, 8 months ago when they made this offer, they asked $8 billion. Now, obviously, Steam is massive. $8 billion is a laughably tiny amount. I mean, think about it. They paid $7 billion just for Bethesda.
So if you know that they're only offering a laughable amount for their previous ones, and I do believe 16 billion is a laughable amount, I'm sure you haven't already told from this video, but wouldn't that make you think that there's no point or no substance to this rumor, and why would you bother making a video? Well, that can be easily answered, of course, because you need views, you want to make money off of YouTube, everyone's on that grind set, but come on. You could have taken an extra day or two before talking about this, as most people would have just looked at it, and even you could have made a better video out of it and said, hey look, this doesn't really seem to be true. And then you could have called out the previous time that they tried to do this and say that these are both laughable amounts of money. Do you really think they're going to be crazy enough to take such a lowball offer like that? And just leave it at that. You don't need to stretch out the video too long. You know, you can get to your, 8-minute mark to get mid-roll ads, and then there you go. Go away, shoot, have fun with the rest of your day. That's it.
The idea of this rumor, immediately people are pissed because Microsoft is not exactly a company that anybody trusts.
And do you think Sony is any better? Because even with the Helldivers 2 controversy that they recently had about them removing it from countries and forcing PSN on people, they still haven't brought it back to the other countries, and yet, to my knowledge, you haven't made many videos on that, and mainly focus on all the negative news going around Xbox. If you actually cared about half of the subjects you were covering, you would have made a giant sook video like you did about the Activision Blizzard stuff and how you ripped your shirt in half because, oh no, women were getting hurt at Activision Blizzard. Like, come on, if you really cared, you would have kept that same energy across the board.
I wanted to take a look at this because it sounds like the reason this rumor is so prolific, the reason, even if this turns out to be an inaccurate number, we do know that Microsoft did in the past, very recently, attempt to buy Valve, and I would not be shocked if they tried it again, because right now, Valve is finally releasing a new game.
And how does that justify them making Microsoft want to purchase them? Because they're making a new game, oh, they must not have money, they're a multi-billion-dollar corporation because Steam makes them billions every year. I don't get how you came to that conclusion or that logic. Like, how do you think to yourself, that's an okay thought? That doesn't make any sense. Like, why would Valve need to be purchased to make a game? That just doesn't make any sense.
So, if you haven't looked at it, I don't want to post the gameplay in this video because I will definitely get in legal trouble, but there's a new game coming out soon that's kind of like a mix of like Overwatch and Team Fortress 2, and it's called Deadlock. Valve's been doing beta testing for it for a while. I looked at a lot of the gameplay. It does actually look incredibly freaking good. I think it's going to be a huge success, and typically whenever a company releases stuff, the value goes up. But here's the thing. Valve is a private company. They're not publicly traded, which means that they don't have stock, they don't have typical value, they're not like on the exchange, which means that if you want them, you have to buy it outright. You can't do a typical takeover. I'm not going to get too into the weeds of it, but there have been attempted hostile takeovers in the past where somebody at one point tried to just buy Ubisoft by eating up the shares, and Ubisoft had to fight off a bunch of just jerky billionaires from eating Ubisoft against their will.
I will only be happy if Ubisoft went under after the 10 years of For Honor. I will be very happy then, because For Honor will have outlived its life cycle and it would have stopped getting content. I may not play the game anymore, but I still have a love-hate relationship for the game, and that's how it will always be. But now I really have to ask, how does this have any relation to Valve? Just because it happened to Ubisoft, they're a publicly traded company to my knowledge. And how does that relate to Valve? They're not publicly traded. I don't remember them getting changed in any sense of the way that would allow them to have such a situation happen to them. It just doesn't make any sense where you come from with this logic again.
So, here's the thing. Right now, well, Gabe Newell, the president, the CEO, the man behind Valve, has been slowly shrinking his own shares of the company. It sounds like, for whatever reason, it sounds like this guy explains that he gave away a lot of money in a divorce, stuff.
I'm sorry to say, Chief, but you're wrong. I didn't find anything on the internet after doing 5 minutes of Google searching, but this is pretty much what I found about how much stock he has in the company, at least of right now. And I didn't really find anything in that divorce either, so I don't know where he got that from. It just seems like more made-up shit to make this rumor a little bit more confirmed in the guy that made the rumor's eyes, so I don't know what to say, Chief. It could just be made up, but I wouldn't really know since I've only done 5 minutes of Google searching. But if you want to prove me wrong, go ahead and do it yourself if you want to see if you can find out more than I already have.
This would definitely get blocked by a monopoly. This would get stopped by the lawmakers, because there's no way this would actually be allowed. Xbox would own Microsoft Store, Blizzard Store, and Steam. Even if Gaben could reject the deal for whatever reason, regulators would. So yeah, here's the biggest thing.
Wow, it's almost like the rumor was fake, and it's almost like this would cause too many issues for Microsoft to actually go through and do it. How could you not tell from the beginning? This is why you don't cover every rumor, this is why you do your research. If I can give any advice to any content creator, do not do a Dreamcast guy. You're just gonna mess yourself over and everyone's gonna dislike you.
I do hope that this doesn't happen for a variety of reasons, and let me talk about that. This is not me just being an Xbox hater or being anti-trillionaire, because, I mean, companies do different stuff. Big companies make good games, they make bad games, they do good decisions, they do bad decisions. But I think it's more about the fact that consolidation, I think, provably never works.
Of course it's not going to work, because what you're doing right here is not going to happen. They're not going to buy Valve. It's just not going to happen for that price, and from everything we've seen in this video, you haven't provided a compelling reason on how they're going to do it. The rumor is fake. We've established that. So I don't know why, at the end of the day, you're even bothering to give this rumor any time of day, when you already should know from as soon as you look at this, it's going to be fake. You know what? I'm done with this video. I'm just gonna keep on repeating myself until the end of time, so I might as well save you the time of not wasting another, 7 minutes or so, and just cut it here. I'll see you all in the next video. Have a great day.